let's start with the InfoShare today. We have an InfoShare about what's new on the Network eAcademy because we have so many news to share that we thought it was good to have like an end of the project InfoShare to update on all the things that have been done lately, and also very important on two new training tracks on quantum and OTFN that Susanne will explain later. First of all, I would like to start thanking all the T4 team for all the work they have done, and also Glad and Leo and the Marcoms team for all the help they have given us to create the content for the Network eAcademy. And what's the Network eAcademy? Well, the Network eAcademy is like an umbrella of activities to help individuals and organizations in the research and education world to advance their knowledge in specific and technical domains that related to the network. We started with this journey when we started in 2019 in GÉANT for 3, asking the entrants what they wanted us to do about orchestration, automation, and virtualization. And they told us about knowledge gaps, about creating a common terminology, about creating a common architecture blueprint, about some use cases. And so we started working on orchestration, automation, and virtualization. And that's why we called it OAV. And sometimes you will see OAV in some of our domains. This has now expanded to additional technical domains, as I said before, but this is something that Susanne is going to talk about later. When we started, the first thing we did was to work on terminology and architecture. Then slowly we went to training, and of course we were updating the OAV public wiki. Then we created a maturity model. We started working on data analysis, on OTFN training, on quantum training, and we have all these activities to help entrants and research and education organizations to follow a path to digital transformation. This is just an introduction. I'm going to go now into the details of the orchestration, automation, and virtualization part, the network automation part, and Susanne will go later deeper into the OTFN and quantum training parts. For network automation, as I said, we started with the terminology. And it was the first thing we did because people said that we were speaking different languages, not just because we all have different languages in Europe, probably, but because some people understood orchestration or virtualization in different ways. So we created a common ground of understanding, not inventing things from zero. We created documentation based on common standards and commonly agreed definitions that were accepted. So we started in 2020. The first version of this terminology document was published in April 2020, just in the middle of the pandemic. And after this version 1 came version 1.1. After 1.1, it went version 2. And we have recently published version 3.0 with additional terms, with artificial intelligence terms and maturity model terms, because we work on a maturity model and we wanted to make very clear what maturity model meant and how maturity models are used. This document, you can find it in two flavors, in a PDF file that you can download from the GÉANT website, or on the wiki as a table with 152 terms and 171 acronyms. It's easy for you to find any acronyms you can use. You know, we use a lot of acronyms in our techie world. So in this way, you can find what these acronyms means. And it's also a documentation that has been accepted by the GNAG Automation Working Group. So it goes beyond Europe. It goes to also all the world, let's say, because we all think that terminology is something that we need to agree on. And we are working on terminology, and new versions of the document will probably come later. Then we also have a maturity model. As you may know, a maturity model is a way to self-assess your maturity on several areas, and you divide it normally these areas into dimensions and with several stages. The main goal is to measure the capabilities you have in a meaningful way, to identify your your strengths, improvement points, and be aware of threats and opportunities like the SWOT analysis. And then help you prioritize in each one of these subdimensions. Maybe you think that you are very good in one subdimensions, but you need to improve in another subdimension. So this way you make it very clear and you know exactly where you have to put your effort for the next stage. You identify the gaps between the current state and the future state, and you see how to get there. Oops, sorry. So these are the dimensions of the orchestration, automation, and virtualization maturity model. We have architecture and technology, processes and services, vision and strategy, and people and organization. This way you can self-assess in which number, in which stage you are for each one of these dimensions, but divide it in small subdimensions that make it much, much easier to assess. These are the stages for the maturity model. You can be from level 0 to level 5. And to make it more understandable, we created like these names that have to do with movement. Like you can be sitting, crawling, walking, running, flying, or energizing. If you are energizing, your network is an autonomous network. It's self-healing and self-everything. Level 0 means you have no automation, no orchestration, and no virtualization in your network. If you have level 1, you're crawling, you have some ad hoc cases of orchestration, automation, and virtualization. In level 2, you have some use case or project-based or reactive automation. If you are in level 3, automation, orchestration, and virtualization are integrated in your network. If you're on level 4, you have proactive. You are proactive. You are doing things before you have to react to something. And as I said, if you are in level 5, you are energizing and everything is done automatically. The maturity model appeared last year in our lives. It's a survey, 31 questions. You have the link here if you want to follow it. We published a white paper lately to facilitate its fulfillment. Well, lately, it was last year. And we held a workshop. So far, we have 19 responses from 17 organizations because the idea of the maturity model is also that you can take it more than once. So you can compare where you were and where you are. You take your subdimensions, your improvement points, you improve on that, and you take the maturity model again, and you see which levels are now not so compensated and you should put more effort on. The news about the maturity model is that we have recently changed, following the feedback from the users, our survey. We have changed the background because there were some accessibility problems. We have also changed the colors because we put colors following the same colors as in the white paper and in the website, but also this was a little bit difficult to read for some. So we prefer to change the background, put all the everything in black and white, but then add the colors as you can see here in the slide. So if you see these 3 squares here, this is something new with the colors as in the white paper, and also we added the definitions that were not there at first. The information on stages and dimensions is on the white paper, but also on the wiki, on the link you have here, and the presentation is already uploaded to the events page. Another track of work we have is the Network eAcademy wiki and the NetDev wiki. The Network eAcademy wiki is a part of the NetDev wiki, and there are several sections on orchestration, automation, and virtualization. There are sections on architecture, training, the maturity model, terminology, literature, dissemination, etc. We have recently created a new landing page for the Network eAcademy because first the Network eAcademy was like one landing page, and then we had everything related to OEB. But now that we have more training tracks, we decided to have a new landing page. Also, we have a new landing page for the training section, which is quite recent, and it is in the link you see here. And we have also updated the community portal, and we are in the process of updating it. And in this case, I would like to just say This is the community portal, as the word says, it's community. So if you have any use cases you would like to share with the community about your usage of orchestration, automation, and virtualization, please feel free to contact us, and we are more than happy to include your information in the community portal. We have added some architecture mappings to the community portal and presentations that we have seen at CSUC meetings about automation. But if you want to include your own automation use case and you have a PowerPoint or a document that you want to share, a PDF, feel free to reach us and we will be happy to put it in the community portal. For architecture, that was one of the first things that the community asked us to do when we started working on orchestration, automation, and virtualization, because we were set that we needed a blueprint, a common architecture to be able to compare the architecture of one entrant to the architecture of another entrant. The idea is to align efforts and be able to interoperate. And that this way, if you have a common architecture, you can find similarities and find ways to collaborate, or maybe APIs that can communicate to each other in a technical way and not so technical too. We found that the TM Forum Open Digital Architecture, which is a functional architecture, was very good for that, because there was like a big structure, big blocks, very flexible, very open. Mostly all architectures can fit in there. There is an engagement management block that talks, this is how the organization talks to people, organizations, or things through APIs, a website, or whatever they need. A party management block, which is with who the organization talks and why, so the customers and the partners. The core commerce management functional block is like the what you sell, what the organization is giving to the customers, the orders, the catalog, the products, SLAs, problem handling, the commercial view of the organization. Production block is where the orchestration happens, is where the customer-facing services, the resource-facing services, the operational domains, optical equipment, the technical routing equipment, all this technical view is in the production block. It's a how. The intelligence management is where the intelligence happens. If there is artificial intelligence, it is here. The analytics, the operational, the closed operational control loops. And all these functional blocks are tied by a decoupling and integration layer that has the communication between all the layers. Of course, some entrants or some research and education organizations can be more advanced on this, and some can be like less advanced, but it's not a problem. The only thing is that if you put your own blocks or your own boxes in these big boxes, then it will be much easier to understand how others are working, because they are also going to use the same. We are currently mapping 3 new entrants that we hope we will publish very soon. And up to date, we have published 7 entrants mappings, with some of them repeating the mapping for the same reason we mentioned with the maturity model. You can see where you were, see where you want to improve, and then do it again and compare. We have also mapped some platforms in the GÉANT project, like Argus, NMAS, PMP, and we have a document with some standards and some standardization bodies which have an architecture, and we have also mapped these architectures to the TM Forum Open Digital Architecture. For architecture, we held a workshop in April, and we created a template for the document and a template for the drawing. It is the blocks, the big blocks that you can use if you want to map your own architecture. And as I said, if you run it periodically, it can help you compare with your own case, and we are currently working on several entrant use cases. We will publish them soon, so stay tuned, and we will put it here. Your architecture can be mapped to these big blocks. It's quite easy, quite flexible, and we can help you with that if you need. If you go to the training part, as for the 3 training tracks we have currently, all the training is delivered as self-paced courses and documents. They are provided via the Network eAcademy training portal in the wiki, and also the GLAD learning portal, the GÉANT Learning and Development portal. As a visual aid and to make it easier for you, for the learners, to follow the learning paths, we have represented these learning paths as metro maps. We currently have more than 2,000 users that have followed courses in the network automation track with more than, it's not three, of course, it's more than 3,700 distinct views, namely 300 and 800 and 3,800. The metro map for the network automation eAcademy, as it was when we started with the current project, was this. In black, you can see the units that were published at that time, and in gray, the ones that we were working on and that we were foreseeing to be published. As you can see here, as I mentioned before, the architecture, the metro map lines are following also the TM Forum Open Digital Architecture big blocks. So there is the coupling and integration line, a production line, an engagement management, a party management, a core commerce management, an intelligence management line. And we also have OAV realization. And on top, you can see some units that are squares. Squares are external documents and external links and documents. So for instance, all the architecture mappings are here as squares. And all the learning units in Moodle are here as round stations. All the content is offered with a Creative Commons license. And as you can see, this was the map in December 2022. This is the map right now. We have some news here. Of course, we have published many more units since we started the project. Another new thing we're doing now is that we have external collaborations, for instance, from the Indiana University and also from the So Big Data Academy. And we have also created a new track on artificial intelligence inside the intelligence management line. Because artificial intelligence is now used everywhere, we are using it all the time. And we found it very useful to have more information on artificial intelligence. You will see that we have already created, or we have already published, the first introduction to AI unit, network automation metro map. As I said, dark titles are clickable units. Light gray titles are units that will come soon. Circles take you to the GLAD platform, to the Moodle learning units, and squares take you to documents and external links. You have the opportunity to go to this page and see also the current courses, not in map format, but also in letters format. The last units we have published are process flow orchestration, hypervisor-based virtualization, KVM and GÉANT, and the introduction to AI. For each one of the units, you can see that you have the time each unit takes to follow, from 15 minutes to 5 or 6 hours, depending on the lab time you want to spend on the learning unit. And you can access all the learning units using your EduGain access or social media access. As I mentioned, all of them are created with a Creative Commons license. You can access also via the GLAD Learning and Development Platform, the eAcademy.GÉANT.org. You can go to all courses, technical skills, network, and then the network automation eAcademy, and you will see later how to reach the quantum and the OTFN units. The structure of each one of the classes is always the same. You have an overview tab, you have several tabs. So the overview tab shows you that it's available on demand. It gives you indicators for the duration and commitment, because the duration can be 30 minutes, but the commitment, depending on the time you spend on labs or exercises or going to useful links, can be more. Then if there are any requirements and prerequisites, you will see them also in this overview page, and you will see that there is a certificate of completion at the end. On the main goals tab, the next one, you will see what you should expect to learn in this unit. For instance, it will give you a list of topics you should be able to know once you finish the unit. Then in the next tabs, you have the video and PDF sections, those here in this case for the introduction to artificial intelligence. Here you have both the video with the subtitles and the files with the speaker notes. So if you prefer to watch the video, you can watch the video and have the subtitles, and YouTube lets you even translate the subtitles if you want to. And the files with the speaker notes are for those who prefer reading and watching it in a text mode and not as a video with the trainer. And there is another functionality, and it is that you can also join the trainers every first Tuesday of every month. If you have questions about any of the units, you can just reach us and we can send you the link to the video conference room. As well as the learning units on Moodle, well, we have the useful links when we finished, and then the video tab, and also a quiz normally. So most of the units have quizzes. Some of them have not a quiz, but most of them have it. And then we ask you for feedback and certificate. And we have the feedback as something mandatory right now to have the certificate, because it's important for us to get information about the feedback for us to improve. Then there is more content. One thing is the learning units on Moodle, and the other one is the documents we have and the external collaborations. As I mentioned before, we had the external collaborations, the GÉANT, from the Global Network Operations Center at the Indiana University, is content that was created by them, the folks at Internet 2, and added to our MetroMap. And we are currently working on adding the information about the So Big Data Academy, because the So Big Data Academy is working on big data topics, but some of them are quite similar. For instance, there is a Python unit, so we are linking from our Python unit to the Python unit on the So Big Data Academy. We added them some of these links to their learning units, to the published learning units in the external collaborations. And we are also studying how to include them in the map. And we are mutually linking the So Big Data Academy courses. So this is a screenshot from So Big Data, where they put some of our units with the GÉANT logo on them, and their learners on the So Big Data Academy can access our courses from there too. Also related to training, but not to the training per se, but to the data that comes from the training, we have also a group of people, a focus group, working on data analysis, exploring which are the best queries to extract useful and up-to-date information from the Moodle database, like to create graphs with the temporary evolution of users, the most viewed courses, the results from the feedback forums, and knowing more information is a way to extract the important facts and to improve our way of delivering the training on our units. So for instance, if there is a lot of interest, this is something we have already done. When we started creating learning units, we didn't go following the paths in the Metro map, but we asked people, which units would you like to see on the Network Key Academy, on the network automation track of the Network Key Academy? And when people say, I would like to see a unit on Ansible instead of working on the next one on the path, we created the unit on Ansible, and the same for other units. We first took a look at the feedback forms and started creating content from that. We're working on creating more content on the Network Key Academy, but the data analysis is also going to help us seeing how to improve our training. And there's also another thing we're working on right now, because as you may know, there is a NetDev incubator for those projects around the network and the network and development that have that were not something that we foresee at the beginning of the project, but can have some room in the project. So as a part of the NetDev incubator project, we have been working on an AI chatbot for the network automation training track on the Network Key Academy. And there is a whole info share about it tomorrow, where you are invited to join, and you will see how are the technical details and the user details of the network, of the AI chatbot on the network automation track on the eAcademy. And that would be all from my side. I will now leave the floor to Susanne
that is going to explain more about quantum technologies and OTFN.
Let's
Yes.
dive into the latest additions we have in the training portal of the Network eAcademy. As Maria Isabel already said, we have the automation track and now the quantum and the time and frequency, and you can all find it on the NetDev and NetDev eAcademy wiki. This is what I wanted to show you. If you're already on the training portal, you can just access it through here. In all the tracks, we have that text part. This is for accessibility reasons. You have a link to the Moodle that is linked through text. But if you want to enjoy the Metro map, these are beautiful maps created by Leo. We have them for all the tracks that we have in the Network eAcademy, and it's fun to use those. And just as it is for OAV, we have the circles for the Moodle learning units, and we have squares for things that are linked to documents or to wiki pages, and whatever is clickable is available, and the other light gray units are things that we are currently still working on. In all the tracks, we have the green introductory lines. If you follow those, you get an overview of all the areas that we cover. In the Quantum Tech eAcademy, we have, for example, a light blue line for quantum simulators, and we have a yellow yellow line for quantum communication. We have a red line for quantum resources, an amber line for quantum computing. If you want to follow learning units about standardization, we have the medium blue line for you, and we have a pink line for quantum sensing and metrology at the moment. A new concept in the Quantum Tech eAcademy is the concept of a class. So far, this is the only track that has that. A class is something that consists of several learning units that belong together. In our case, we have the quantum algebra class, and it explains the basic concepts that you need to know for quantum technology, starting from an introductory unit to what are qubits, and then going on to explain in the end the main concepts of quantum entanglement and quantum teleportation. This was created by Peter Kaufman from DFN. And if you start out with this whole class, as you can see here, all of these are considered introductory units. You have a pretty good understanding and then can easily follow the more advanced classes later on. Coming soon is a unit up here that I circled. This is already very far advanced in our review pipeline on entangled photon pair sources and bulk crystals. We will also soon have a unit called Introduction to QKD Post-Processing, and we will also very soon have a very new concept of how-to videos. These how-to videos are very short classes. They usually consist only of a video that explains you how to do things. It's very much hands-on. You will see a short video ranging from 5 minutes to maybe 15 minutes, and it's somebody in a lab, in our case at CESNet, explaining you, for example, how to connect and clean optical fibers, or how to work with optical time domain reflectometry. So this is especially for NRENs or people who want to work in the lab and want to see some hands-on training. So this will be coming soon as a light green line, probably. If you are working directly in the GLAD Moodle environment, you will find us going to technical skills, network, and then just select quantum technology. Now for OTFN, or time and frequency networks, Leo has created yet another beautiful metro map. This one resembles a clock or a watch, And we recommend that you start up here at 1300 hours and then just follow the different lines, just like you would do on the other maps. We also have a green line for the introductory courses. If you want to follow some more advanced lines, you would go to the orange line. And if you're interested in White Rabbit technology, for example, you would go to the red line. Here we also have something that's a new thing called a how-to cookbook, where enrons explain, in our case, SIGT, how to work and with White Rabbit networks, what to experience and what you have to do to set it up. These White Rabbit classes here are very hands-on, and from an Enron point of view, if you want to have more details on the technology itself, we also have an external link that takes you to CERN directly, who developed the technology, and you just click on that rabbit and it takes you straight to their much more detailed documentation. If you're interested in monitoring, you would follow our blue line. If you're on the Moodle platform in GLAD, you would find these classes going through technical skills, network, and then just select time and frequency networks. At the moment, we have these 3 classes available, but we have 4 more classes that are very far advanced in the pipeline and that you can look for very soon, like time and frequency network, introduction to fiber, experiences with setting up a White Rabbit system, that cookbook class, and then the LSTEP system. Just like in the OAV, we have this general overview in each class that tells you how much time you have to invest, or if you need any kind of prerequisite classes that would help you do that course. And of course, you get a GÉANT certificate of completion at the end. And we also have the same setup, main goals. We have usually video and PDF sections. Some units have exercises, and we always have in every unit useful links that give you further reading, more material if you want to dive into the topic much further. And most of the units, except for the how-to videos, also have a quiz. And you can test your knowledge at the end and feel good about learning some new stuff. And we usually end with a what's next unit that gives you some guidance on what we would recommend for you as the next path. If you have any questions, and this does not just go for quantum technology or the OTFN track, for any question, please go to use the email network-eacademy@list.géant.org. Also for OAV, and you can contact us and we will get in touch with you and answer your question. This is also if you have any kind of feedback or something you'd like to share with us, just use this email.